Thanks for your support as a channel member, Andrew Coates.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the FM20 beta starts right here. This is episode 1 of my Football Manager 2020 beta save with Manchester United. If the idea of a new FM20 beta save excites you, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on this video. It is the biggest, most helpful thing you can do to support a video, support a channel. And in fact, I'll make a deal with you. If we get to 1,000 likes on this video before, let's say 9 PM UK time tonight, if we get to 1,000 likes before 9 PM, I'll release episode 2 at 9 PM tonight. I don't want to be releasing it in the middle of the night, but if we can get to 1,000 likes before then, 9 PM tonight, we'll get episode 2, because likes are that important and I want to encourage you to do them. If you are new to the channel as well and looking for Football Manager content, I do daily content I do daily content. I did over 450 videos on FM19 and I plan to do a similar kind of number on FM20, so please make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, all that good stuff. There is a lot of content going to be coming your way over the coming days, weeks and months. And if you've not yet bought your own copy of FM20, of course I have a link down in the description where you can pick the game up super cheap, much cheaper than Steam, less than 30 quid at the moment, using my link with 2Game. It gets it super cheap. You get access to the beta straight away. You can be playing the game right now whilst watching me, of course, but you can be playing the game right now, and it supports the channel at the same time, so it's win-win for everybody. But that's enough of the admin stuff. I think we're all here to see me play some Football Manager, so let's go and play some Football Manager. And there we have it, the Manchester United boardroom. I think this completes my set. I think at this point I have now managed all of the big clubs in England at some point during my Football Manager YouTube career. Manchester United was the one that I'd never done. And obviously now I have done it. I've been appointed as the club's new manager. It does say that I'm 36. I'll take that because I'm 37 in real life. Not had a birthday yet, clearly. On lots of money for a couple of years taking over from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So let's hashtag Man United. Yeah, too right. Look at my... That's the closest I could get my face. I don't think it's a million miles away. They don't do double chins and thicker beards very well. But I guess you don't get a lot of double chin and thick beard in the footballing landscape. So this is what we're looking for at Manchester United. The director of football position is vacant. That's interesting. I do like working with a director of football, so I will go out and get one. We've got a media prediction of 6th place, which seems super low for a club the size of Manchester United. Obviously, they have had a difficult few years, but when you look at the players at their disposal, I've got to feel like we should be able to get a Champions League finish this season. And I should probably clarify, this isn't just going to be like a 1 or 2 season thing. I plan to tell a complete story with Manchester United. The series is likely to go on beyond the beta. And I want to actually turn Manchester United back into Manchester United again, or get sacked trying. So I definitely want to be getting back into the Champions League as soon as possible, and then pushing on from there. And it's good to be reunited with Mike Phelan, a man I've worked with many times in Football Manager over the years, but never at Manchester United. So if we get into the rest of the meeting and have a look to see what kind of squad we've got available to us. So this is theoretically the best team we've got at our disposal at the moment. So a recommendation for a 4-2-3-1, David De Gea as the best player at the club. And obviously goalkeeper as well. He's also our top earner, interestingly, as well. A back four then of Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. McTominay and Pogba in midfield. Rashford, Mata and Lingard behind Martial up front. And then there's a few players out on loan as well. Most notably Chris Smalling, Alexis Sanchez, both out on loan for this season. But presumably their contracts extend beyond that. So they're players we are going to have to do something with. Yeah, he's here for a few more years on a crazy amount of money. Are they paying his wages this season? I really hope so. £400,000. Both of them are here until 2022. So they're players we're either going to have to move on or reintegrate back into the squad when we get into next season. My immediate thoughts looking at that, the defence looks pretty strong. Goalkeeper obviously looks pretty strong. Martial and Rashford, theoretically quite good. Pogba, obviously, he's done a few bits and pieces here and there in football over the years, hasn't he? But I have to look at Mata, Lingard and McTominay and think, Champions League players? Mata, maybe. Lingard. I'll hold my hands up and say I don't know much about McTominay, other than the fact that he's got number 39 on his back. He's relatively young, and I don't know, is he that good? Is he Champions League quality? He feels like another, and Man United have always done this over the years. He feels like another player who's come through the Man United youth system who'll be a really useful squad player at Manchester United for his entire career, and he'll play a lot of games. He'll get like 20, 25 appearances a season. He'll sit on the bench a lot, but I can't imagine he's going to be a regular starter for a Champions League winning team. I could be really wrong. Manchester United fans, let me know how wrong I am down in the comments. But let's keep pushing forward. We've got the club vision stuff, which we've had a bit of a detailed look at this a couple of times now in the streams that we've done and the early access stuff that we had from down at Sports Interactive. But just to see how things are different here at Manchester United, they want entertaining football and developing players through the youth system. I can do that. They want me to increase so on the 5-year plan, we're looking to increase commercial revenue. So maintaining the club's status as the biggest team in the world and the most reputable team in England. Are they really the biggest team in the world? That seems, for a team that's not in the Champions League, that seems hard to achieve. And then work within the wage budget as well. We'll stop signing players like Alexis Sanchez for £400,000 a week and sending him out on loan. There's Kev's quick hot take on how to fix that little problem. This season's goals, they are requiring qualification for the Champions League. We haven't got the real name fix on yet, which... that makes sense. That's my immediate thoughts. Manchester United should be in the Champions League. They also want a Europa League final, FA Cup semi-final, don't care about the Carabao Cup. That means a lot to me that they also don't care about the Carabao Cup. My contract then expires at the end of next season, by which point they want to be challenging for the Premier League title, winning the Premier League the year after, or no, challenging for the title again the year after, winning the Premier League within 4 years, and then basically be back and dominant again as Manchester United by the end of the 5-year plan. I'm happy to make the plan for the series tie in with this 5-year plan. I want to get Manchester United back to a dominant Premier League winning team within these 5 seasons. And I think at the end of the 5 years, I'll probably nip the save in the bud and move on. We might even do it before then. If we win the Premier League there, we might consider that job done, and we might want to push on and win the Champions League as well. But I think getting Manchester United back to being Premier League winners could only be seen as a successful save. I don't really want all these tutorials because I've done all of them multiple times now. So I'm just going to... Is there a way to say, you know what, I don't want them at all? I don't think there is. Someone from Football Manager, if you're watching, I don't want them at all now. This is my 3rd run through. Edward Wood says, shall we schedule a press conference? Yes, we'll do an intra-squad friendly, and we'll actually look at that in this episode. And then, yes, we want the backroom staff info as well. And let's go meet the team. So we're in. I've read all the news reports, skipped all the inductions, and let's have a look at the important stuff. So firstly, money. We've got £100 million to spend. That's going to come in handy. And now if we go to the team report, which doesn't have a best 11 yet, that's because we don't have a tactic selected. So let's start with tactics. I really like the way how on FM20 it recommends tactics. So we've got 3 options, Tiki-Taka, well, not 3 options, but 3 recommended options that will suit the squad that we've got. Tiki-Taka, fluid counter-attack, and direct counter-attack. I don't think Manchester United should be playing counter-attacking football, so I'm going to say Tiki-Taka. It's something I've never used in Football Manager before. This could be disastrous, but let's start off with a basis of a Tiki-Taka formation. And apparently that variety of Tiki-Taka is the one that suits the players that we've got. So we'll set that up as our base tactic. We'll add the other 2 on as well, because it's always handy to have a counter-attacking system. So if we had a fluid counter-attacking system, again, it looks like we're leaning towards a back 5, which again is something I've never used before. But if it suits the players that we've got, then I would be mad not to do it. And then there's a flat back 4 version there. But if that is the most suitable system for the players that we've got, what does that then give us as our best 11? It still doesn't. What's going on? Why am I not getting a best 11? Let's just look at squad depth. So, in fact, what I could do is say, just do me a little quick pick. Show me what we've got here. So, I don't know. What do we need? Squad depth. Strikers. Rashford is the best. No, Martial's the best one. Then Rashford. Sanchez is as good as Rashford, but he's out on loan. Which, I mean, I know he's on a lot of money and fell out with Man United, etc., etc. Never really did his Arsenal form. But we can't recall him. If he's as good as what we've got, it'd be nice to have in the mix in this front 3. But obviously that's not going to be an option for us. We've got Lingard, Mata, Pogba, all as options as the attacking midfielder. Pogba, who I've just made captain on recommendation of my assistant manager. I would suggest probably our best player. If you take De Gea out of the mix. So we've got Pogba and then Fred, McTominay. Let's have a look at McTominay. I've slated him early on. McTominay, a 3-star player, good player for most Premier League teams, might get a little bit better. Which, I mean, that's fine, but that doesn't strike me as Manchester United's starter. So I think we probably need we've got £100 million to spend. A world-class midfielder to go alongside Pogba? Or a world-class attacking midfielder to go in there and replace Lingard and Mata and be a real creative force behind that striker. If we're playing with 5 at the back, we don't really have players who want to be wing-backs, which could be a problem. We also don't really have a third centre-back. You know what? I'm going to immediately ignore what this is recommended for tactics. We'll stay on Tiki-Taka, but I'm not doing a 5 at the back. Let's have a look at a 5-2-3-1. And then not selection advice, do a quick pick again on there. See, that straight away looks like a team that makes a little bit more sense. And then if we go back to the team report and we're thinking, right, we need someone alongside Pogba. We need someone in this kind of position. But defensively, we're not too bad. Fullbacks, again, not great. There's quite a few areas we could strengthen. And I don't know if we've got much in the way of dead wood that we can move on because a lot of it has already been moved on. I guess maybe the likes of Young. You know, anyone who's watched a lot of my videos in the past knows how I feel about old men. I don't really want a 33-year-old backup player. So if anyone wants to take Ashley Young, I'll drive him to you. And we seem to have a lot of centre-backs, but a lot of centre-backs who aren't really that great. So we've got 2 that can start and then another 4 plus Smallings. That's a lot of centre-backs. I think there's some money that can be made there because I don't think we need that many central defenders. Why is he all the way down there? Oh, because that's potential ability. Okay, so if we go by potential ability, so he's probably worth keeping. I'm thinking probably those 4 are the 4 we go with. So Phil Jones, Marcus Rojo can probably move on if we can get some money for them. And I'm thinking in terms of let's do a complete overhaul of Manchester United, bin off all of these fringe players that aren't any good and go out and buy someone really good to play here, someone really good to play here in one of those positions. And I don't know, maybe some fullbacks too. There's lots we could be doing, but we need to get some scouting up and running before we get stuck into doing it. And I guess the first thing we need to do is play this friendly and get an idea of if a tiki-taka even looks like it might work, because like I say, I've never used a tiki-taka. My instinct throughout FM19 was always gegenpress, gegenpress, gegenpress. And I'm not against switching things up to do a gegenpress here if I absolutely have to. But we'll go with this completely unfiddled with initially, and then we'll take it from there. Look how unfit everybody... I mean, that's match fitness, but still. Have we got anyone scouted at the moment? We could probably just keep scouting all of this lot. I love the fact that Juventus are called Zebra, by the way. If you've already done a real names fix, which I know people will ask about names and badges and stuff, I'm not going to do that until the full version of the game is out, just because I never mod the beta. It's always been the way. You won't convince me otherwise. But I personally really like the fact that Juventus are called Zebra. So I don't really want to change that. I will for non-league to legend, but it amuses me that they're called Zebra. See, there's no real immediate super duper world class players screaming out to me from there. So we need to get some scouting up and running. Why are we only scouting Europe? We're Manchester Bloomin' United. Scout everywhere and scout it properly, for goodness sake. Can't believe I have to come in here and tell him that. You know what? You're Man United, biggest club in the world. You just told me. Scout everywhere, idiots. I'm revolutionising the club from top to bottom. Right, let's go and play the friendly against our under-23s, get an idea of how this tiki-taka looks, and then you can share with me your ideas and plans for who I should be selling, who I should be signing, and that'll be what I do before the next video. Right, I have a team picked for the game against the under-23s. I've tweaked the system a little bit. I've not changed any of the stuff that makes it a tiki-taka for now. I feel like I'm not going to keep using it because I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I have adjusted some of the player roles just to better suit the players that we've got. So I don't like sweeper keepers on attacks. I've taken De Gea back to a defensive sweeper keeper. McTominay suits being a ball-winning midfielder, so let's make him one. Mata, I don't want to have... I'm still following the I only have one playmaker rule that Miles gave me last year on FM19, so Pogba's our best player. Let's make him the playmaker. Mata can just be there to support Martial, who I've pushed further forward to make an advance forward rather than a deep lying forward. Rashford as an inside forward on attack to get up there and support him. And Lingard just playing as an out-and-out winger on this right-hand side. Looking at that team set up like that, I think the most obvious place we need a replacement player is here, because Mata doesn't really suit the role that I want him to play. And he's not... I mean, he's one of the weaker players that we've got, a little bit older as well, so... I'm wondering if we have a little look. The scouting has begun. I haven't had a proper look at it yet, but if we have a look at attacking midfielders with our £100 million to spend and see what kind of thing we can get for our money. James Rodriguez was an absolute superstar for me in the beta last year and is on the transfer list at Real Madrid. We can afford him. He suits the system perfectly. And I'm already thinking... probably going to be making a move for Rodriguez, but I'm not going to do any of that today. Transfers are for tomorrow. Today is all about having a look at this tactic. So we're going with De Gea in goal, a back four of Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof and Young. We've got Pogba and McTominay in midfield, Rashford, Mata and Lingard supporting Martial up front. I am wondering if we need a proper striker rather than Martial and Rashford as... almost like support players who can play up there if asked to, but we'll give Martial the opportunity today. After all my talk of strengthening in different areas, I'm going to sign James Rodriguez and then a proper striker, aren't I? We all know I'm going to. We know the type of players I want. I'm going to turn this into a gegenpress if it kills me. I want a pressing forward up there. Might only be a pre-season friendly, but I do expect to win. It's pre-season friendly against our own kids as well. But even still, I expect us to go out there and beat them. Have we got all these settings right? They have carried over. Oh, have they carried over? That's a horrible camera angle. I know we're in a big ground. Why are we so high up? I think that was just an awkward camera angle. I'm going to assume that's not going to happen too often. But that's horrible. Why are we all the way up here? I mean, I played through all of FM19 without having to get that high up because we lived in Stadium MK for most of it. That just feels very, very high up. And for Manchester United's stadium not to be filled, although in fact we're not even at Old Trafford, we're at the Lee Sports Village. So this isn't even Old Trafford. I'm confused now. Presumably this is the training ground, is it? Big ball over the top for Rashford, who's in behind it. That was a lovely pass. Rashford is in and scores an absolute beauty. That's why I want Marcus Rashford playing as an inside forward. I am a big fan of inside forwards, and he's just shown me there that he is the man to play that role for me. Martial could potentially do it as well. Can he play on the other side? Could we have one on each side and bring in Rodriguez and a proper striker and have a completely new look style front four? I'd like that. Can Martial go out on the right? I don't think he can he? He's, I don't know, competent on the right but natural on the left. That's the problem. Martial and Rashford both want to be in the same position. In my mind, they should both be inside forwards on that left-hand side. So we've got some good competition for places out there. I don't know if I want either of them playing as the striker, though. Martial's in here and fires it into the outside of the post. There's a giant ball in the corner. Excellent. We've still got those. Maguire plays forward to Pogba, who sprays it out to Young. Young and Lingard are very, very close together there. I know I've got Lingard playing as a winger because it's his natural position, but Ashley Young is there as a wing back with an attack instruction to push on, and I think Lingard's almost getting in his way. So I think what we need to do is say to Lingard, you're going to need to cut in a little bit. We could try him as an inverted winger. What's the difference between an inverted winger and an inside forward? So an inverted winger cuts inside, opening up space for overlapping fullbacks, which is what we want. And then, so if his strongest foot is opposite to the side he's playing. So it sounds very similar to an inside forward. I guess the difference is he's going to cut inside and try and cross, whereas an inside forward cuts inside and tries to shoot. Let's make him an inside forward. I want them to tuck in, and I want space for... In fact, Young's only on a support instruction, but he was right up the backside of Lingard there. So let's move Lingard in a little bit and allow Young to overlap him. because otherwise there's no point playing them both. There's no point having Young pushing on if he's just pushing into the back of Lingard the whole time. Lindelof is there at the far post, and his header is saved, and we win a corner. Two burger vans, one inside the ground, one outside the ground there, which is interesting. That looked like that had gone in, but I think has it gone wide? That has gone wide. Somebody explained to me the picnic benches in the corner of these grounds as well. I don't get it. Shaw wins the header back, and Pogba is doing a bit of closing down here in midfield, which is lovely stuff. He has left a big hole behind him, though, but it's a hole that McTominay has come on and just tidied up. McTominay's my new favourite player. I've had a complete turnaround on him. I like a ball-winning midfielder. Shaw now trying to get that overlap on Rashford, plays it back to Pogba, and Pogba back to Shaw again, who we're struggling to create an opening. I think this is the whole Tiki-Taka thing, whereas I'm looking at that screaming in my head at them to play Shaw in so he can get a crossover. They're thinking in terms of let's knock the ball around nicely. Harry Maguire's lost possession here, and De Gea manages to spare his blushes. But I think I'm going to struggle with the more patient build-up play of the tiki-taka, because I'm not a patient man. I want to high press, I want to get the ball forward. I don't just use gegenpress because it's a system that works in Football Manager. I use gegenpress because I love the way the gegenpress plays. And I'm going to keep an open mind until I start bringing in players to suit my system, and then we can change it. Rashford's got his second goal of the game, though, and if we've learnt one thing from today's match, it's that Marcus Rashford, he's nailed on for that inside forward position. He's doing an excellent job out there. He's getting in behind defenders. He's creating chances for himself. He's finishing them off. He's got a position for life there. Excellent. We just need to fix the rest of the attack, because the rest of the attack has looked very muted. I've liked the look of Pogba in midfield. I've liked the look of McTominay in midfield. I like the fullbacks overlapping. The defenders, I mean, Maguire's had a little bit of a mistake, but perhaps that's because I'm asking him to be a ball-winning midfielder, ball-playing defender, sorry. So perhaps I need to give him a more simpler task. Rashford's in again for the hat-trick, and he's fouled, and he's going to take the penalty himself to, again, try and finish off the hat-trick, which, I mean, it's a nice little way to introduce yourself to the new manager. Hat-trick in the first friendly. He's looked absolutely terrifying coming down that left-hand side throughout this match. So we've got one good player, at least. He's hit that so hard. It's gone straight at their keeper, but he's hit it so hard it's ended up in the back of the net. We've got a bunch of players now who are no longer interested, which is something we need to sort out. What is the point in short distribution to the centre-backs if the centre-back is then going to launch it over the top like that? The goalkeeper could just do that, and then we're in a better position to catch them offside with the return header. There's some tactical tweaks I need to make to this setup. There definitely is. I don't know if I can handle tiki-taka. Rashford is in behind again. Can he make it? Number 4. Rashford straight at the keeper this time, and then straight into the side netting at the second bite of the cherry. We are going to make some changes at half-time, just fitness-wise and also motivation-wise. We've already got the game won, and some of these players just don't seem interested. But I want to have a look at everybody. So we've got lots of players to bring on. Let's bring them on. So he was one of the defenders that I was looking at. So let's get him on and have a look at him. What's Andreas Pereira? He's a midfielder. So let's get him on in midfield. He can come on there. What sort of midfielder is he? He's not really the sort that's going to fit into this system, which is problematic. So let's not bring him on and maybe look to sell him if this is the system we're going to be using. Greenwood is a striker and he's only 17, but let's have a look at him. Let's have a look at him playing as a striker. Phil Jones can come on and play. Matic presumably can come on and play there. You sure that you can't play there? There you go. Do it that way. You can certainly be some kind of defensive midfielder. James, is he a left winger or a right winger? He can do both. He's natural at both, in fact. That is very handy. So if we play him on the left-hand side, he can play as that inside forward the same way Rashford has. So that is good to see. Dalot can come on there. Rojo, I don't really want to bring him on at left back. We'll just leave him off for now. But there you go. Bunch of changes at half-time as we continue to explore the squad and get an idea of who we like, who we don't like. We're basing all these decisions on one friendly against the under-23s, because that's the correct way to judge the biggest football club in the world. as they like to introduce themselves. I mean, it's what was written on all the posters as I turned up at Old Trafford for the interview. Lingard there has got a goal. It's 4-0 now. And this is what you'd expect from Manchester United against Manchester United reserves in a pre-season friendly. But it's encouraging to see that at least the tactic works, because I've had, and you've seen before if you've been around on the channel for a while, I've had these very first pre-season friendlies where I don't really know the team, don't really know what tactic I'm going to use, and I've been beaten by the under-23s on more than one occasion over the years. So it is reassuring to see that we're not going to get beaten today. That's a big positive. At least the tactic's not a disaster. Chong is in behind here, and I mean, he's very nearly caused a little bit of embarrassment for De Gea there, because I think De Gea should definitely be thinking in terms of keeping a clean sheet against this lot. He's our highest paid player, presumably in the absence of Sanchez, unless he earns even, So when Sanchez comes back, he's going to be the highest paid player again, which again is something we need to figure out what to do about, because who's going to sign him permanently if he's on 400 grand a week? But if he comes back and he's on 400 grand a week, we're going to have to play him. I'm now starting to understand why he was sent out on loan. If Solskjaer doesn't want to play him, then you can't really justify keeping him around and not playing him, but you also can't sell him because no one's going to give him that kind of contract. Who signed him? They got themselves into a right pickle signing him. What a terrible signing. Right, show some passion. I know it's pre-season friendly, and I know you're 4-0 up, but I don't want you looking uninterested. Show me that you actually want to be here. We'll have our 10 minutes of passion, and I want another goal. I want Greenwood to get a goal. I want him to prove to me that I don't need to sign another striker. There is Greenwood in, but can't quite get there ahead of the keeper. And now the reserves are coming at us again, and it's Chong who's in again, and it's just wide from him. So, he's had a couple of one-on-one situations with De Gea and not really done himself any favours in either of them if he's trying to convince me that he's a player who should be in this first team mix. No, he shouldn't be. Right. Yeah, that was a very good performance. Perhaps we'll give this Tiki-Taka a little bit more time to see if it's going to be any good. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Where's dynamics? Can they do this? Average team cohesion. The team's collective mental state hasn't seen much change. Okay. So they don't really know how to do it yet. Where's tactical familiarity? So this is a new system. They're not used to playing it. Would they be used to either of these? Even less used to those. So what system do Manchester United... What are they used to playing? I need to figure that out. It's basically going to be a decision between do I do this, do I do Gegenpress? And that's what I need to figure out over the course of the rest of the summer and before we get into showing you the transfers and the first league game of the season, which will be in the next episode, which, like I said at the start, will either be tomorrow at 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. tonight if we get to 1,000 likes on this video before 9 p.m. So if you want another video tonight, make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up. And on that note, if you have enjoyed it, thumbs up anyway, please, folks. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 videos from here on in now, every day, forever, until FM21 at least. And thank you very much for watching.